audience. Oh, they can see us up this. Oh, I love it. Looks good. Looks good.
Yeah.
You got your Starbucks. I gotta tell them I'm not drinking Starbucks.
Okay. I'll move it off.
I'm on my water fast. They're gonna think it's me. Peace, everyone. This is Flurboon coming to you today with a new topic of discussion. So we have Jennifer. Jennifer is a medium that I actually met via Evo. And remember before my conference, I think they're here. Hold on. There they go. They started. That's right. Before the conference, Evo had mentioned how his son had passed away, and it kind of led me along this path to find Jennifer, who's actually a medium. Now, Jennifer, if I can just ask you, what do you do exactly?
Okay, so I am a psychic medium, which means that I connect to the other side. I connect to spirit guides, I connect to loved ones that have crossed over, and I connect to them and get information from them, get messages from them. I'm also psychic, so all mediums are also psychic, which means I can get information about current situations, upcoming situations, people who are still here. What I say, I connect to energy, so I connect to energy of people, whether they're still here or they've crossed over.
Absolutely. What led you to become a medium? I don't know if that's a question anybody
Yeah,
ever
no,
asked.
it is, and actually I would be what they would call like a natural born medium. So I've always had it. I was a massage therapist from the time I was 18 years old, and I would just work on people and I would get information, and it really wasn't until probably like in my late 20s that I was saying to one of my clients, I was like, I don't really know where all this information is coming from, and she looked at me and she's like, you're a medium. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. So I've just always done it. I can remember being 4 years old and laying in my bed, and it would look into my parents' room and I could see these 3 kids standing there. And I just never thought it was weird. I wasn't afraid of them. They didn't talk to me. I could just see them. So yeah.
And after you kind of realized what it is that you are intrinsically, what made you feel the need to start to extend that to others?
I really would say it's like I'd always heard people say, oh, a calling. I felt like because I can do this and because I can get information that I would have no way of knowing unless I were being given it, it gave me such like hope and such faith and such strength, and I thought, well, I shouldn't keep that to myself.
I agree.
I should share it with others. I'm a very private person, actually. So it took me a lot to kind of come out of the closet, so to speak. That's actually that's what we call it in this industry. Yeah, it is a coming out of the closet. Yes.
So, when you began your journey
Yeah.
into kind of interfacing with others, spiritually, reading, registering what was going on with them psychically, and also with their loved ones, did you find that prior to meeting up with someone, their loved ones would interconnect with you first?
Sometimes, yeah. Sometimes it will happen beforehand. And I just always kind of like, okay, hey, it's nice to meet you. We'll get to that. Like we'll get to them eventually.
Yeah.
I did have to set up kind of some boundaries because, like when I would lay in bed at night, I'd get, I'd get this kind of stuff, and I was like, okay, like when I'm in bed,
that's not okay. I gotta
office
sleep. Hours.
So yeah, it kind of for me, I very much am like when I'm working, okay. When I'm not working, it's like.
That's good.
I gotta kind of function and do other things.
So you can actually zone it out a little.
I can, yes. Yeah, it's funny, I have an easier time like being in a city, being in a really crowded place.
Yes.
Because it's just becomes like white noise for me.
Yes.
So I actually like
yes.
That kind of stuff when I'm trying to have it quieter.
They're looking at your eyes. I was saying the same. I was looking at her eyes and I can see interdimensionally, so I knew that she was interfacing with something outside of the perspective of what we consider to be in this 3D realm, because usually what happens is it biologically and physiologically changes you.
Yeah.
Especially with the eyes when you're able to see through the different layers of the veil.
Yeah.
Which I found was interesting.
Yeah.
So when you started to register and read people, what would you say was the biggest challenge initially when starting to? Okay,
so for me, one of the biggest challenges is, like everything has a vibration. So as humans, our range of vibration is from low to high. Like if we're really depressed or really sad or going through a lot, our vibration tends to lower. And then if we're like just like ecstatic, and our vibration is higher. Well, the other side vibrates at a rate that's so much higher than what we can reach.
Yes, yes.
So for me, sometimes when they start coming in and come around, it creates like an anxiety, like a.
Yes.
And until I actually get the information and start like giving it and set into it, it can. Sometimes I would feel like I gotta get out of here. Like I gotta just run until I realize what was happening.
Interesting. So you always feel like a buildup.
Yeah, like I'll get like like a tightness and stuff, and then I know that means information's coming. But at first I didn't realize that that's what was happening. So like when I was doing massages and giving information, sometimes I'd get really panicky in the room and be like, I feel like I just got to get out of the room. Until I started to realize, like, okay, no, if I just like take a deep breath and focus on the information, then it all calms down.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. So would you say sometimes when people are, maybe loved ones are contacting, because usually loved ones will contact people sometimes.
Yeah.
And I felt that myself when before my father passed, but I felt that myself, like an anxiety.
Yeah.
Could it be that?
Absolutely.
Because I felt it a lot, especially when I started to raise my frequency, start to get involved with all these.
Well, yeah, because the higher our vibration is, the easier it is for us to feel that.
That's right.
The closer we are to their level of vibration.
Yes, yes.
So absolutely, it can definitely feel like that when you start to connect to them. So and especially for people who are empathic, it's like always just kind of a good idea to be like, okay, hey, like if this anxiety is like energy from somebody on the other side, like I acknowledge you, I'm happy that you're here,
Good.
And then sometimes it'll kind of go away.
Oh, interesting. So once you acknowledge, it's almost like their anxiety, because maybe do they get anxiety written on the other side, frustration?
No, it's not like that. I think for me, in my words, how I put it is it's that vibration.
Yes.
And then once we acknowledge them, we've made the connection. So it's like, it kind of like I guess it's more like we blend a little bit better.
Interesting. You balance out the frequencies.
Yep.
I love that. So when scoot on over. I know. I'm like we're like
there
so
we go.
tight.
That's
there
better.
We go. So when did you first begin? Like what age would you say that you started this
like
journey?
Actually
reading and registering others, not so much you, but others.
Yeah, that's so difficult because, like I said, doing massage.
Yeah.
I would so I guess like around 18, like I would pick up information and I would pass it along, and but actively coming out of the psychic closet and saying like, hey, this is what I do, this is who I am. That was probably about 6 years ago.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that I was actually open. It was always done kind of secretively.
Did the family accept that?
Yeah, actually, both sides of my family have people that are gifted psychically, although I'm the only one that has actually done it as a profession.
Okay, interesting. Do you know your blood type? Because you know that's my biggest thing.
I'm O negative.
Wait, I just discussed that yesterday. Okay,
yeah.
O negative in the house.
Yes.
You got O negative.
I guess so if you need any blood ever, just let me know.
Universal blood.
Yeah.
We're talking about O negative having what I consider to be off-world blood. Actually, I talk about UFOs and ETs and how it sometimes interfaces with genetics, and that there are beings here who are genetically more connected to those from celestial realms or extraterrestrial genomes. And I was talking about O negative, and it's interesting that you are able, because I talked about yesterday the wonderment of O negative having the ability to astroplane easier than most.
Yeah.
And to be able to interface psychically with people a little easier, because I'm O positive, so we're the OGs. O negative, O positive. So, okay, so you started a couple years ago doing it outwardly.
Yes.
Now, did anything were there any times that you felt like with children, were there times when you felt like there was something that, because of let me ask you about when someone transitions and it's something more traumatic.
Yeah.
How does that translate when they cross over?
I actually don't understand quite what you're asking. Okay. So
does it
do they come through as a child? Is that what you're asking?
Like if they've been traumatized, like let's say something like a very bad, like a murder or something negative. How does that translate when they actually interface with you? Do they still have that attached to their field?
No. So typically, so like for me, I connect to souls that have already transitioned. Okay. So like if I go someplace that's haunted or whatever, I can't communicate with ghosts that are there. Okay. Like I can see them and I can sense them, but I can't necessarily talk to them.
Interact with them.
I connect to souls that have crossed over. So by the time I talk to them, they've already transitioned over. So they would be able to oftentimes tell me what happened, but they would not still be traumatized by it.
Good.
Okay, they would have done their life review.
The debriefing that
Yes.
they go over when they go over. Okay.
Yes, absolutely.
This is interesting because there's a misnomer, I think, or that mediums speak to ghosts, or
Some of them may. I can only speak for myself, and I like for whatever reason, I don't know why, but when I go to haunted places, I never get activity around me. And so this one time I was at a place local around, Central Florida in DeLand.
Yeah.
And I was standing on the property. It was an abandoned hotel. And I could feel them. I could feel the souls that hadn't crossed over. And I distinctly could feel like a male energy off to the left. And I said, "Show yourself to me."
Yes.
And the only thing I got from him was, "I don't want you to see me."
Ooh.
And I was like, okay.
That's interesting.
So I'm not sure. I really don't know what that's about.
Is it that? What's your take on that? Is it that? Why do some stay? Unfinished business. They always give us the idea that it's unfinished business, or is it that they're stuck sometimes?
Sometimes it is that they're stuck, or there is such a connection to here, or something that happened here. But one of the things that I have come across recently in the work that I do is that it's actually sometimes before they come in, they agree to stay as ghosts.
Oh.
Because we as people here walking the earth need the supernatural.
We do, to keep us connected.
So there are some souls who agree to stay and be ghosts.
Wow.
For the rest of us to be like, okay, I can't explain that, something's going on. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yep.
But when someone's transcended, they've already done their debriefing, meaning that they've gone through their life, usually the screen of life, first good and bad comes through, and they kind of resolve.
And I can connect to them kind of before they've done the whole debriefing.
Yes.
But they're already on the other side, so to speak.
Okay. Somebody had a question. Sunflower, let me see. Sunflower, did you have a question? Hold on, someone said you had a question. Where do they transfer over to? Where do they transfer over to?
Okay, so it's, I guess you could call it like another dimension. It's another plane. It's they still have access to here and being able to see us here, and
yes.
I would just say it's another dimension.
Basically, so they're coexisting.
Yes.
Because even when I felt like I that's why Evo and I connected. Because when my father passed, I didn't get that temporary. I felt him right away.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like I didn't get that. I thought it would be like there's time in between, and then I would have to wait. His contact was right away, and I always give them like something to show me. Like even my father-in-law, I said, "Show me a dime when you show up. Show me daddy, show me sprinkles, and it'll show up." I feel like sometimes do they kind of are okay with when we make like agreements with them, or
yes. What I tell people is sometimes if you feel like you're asking a certain loved one for a specific sign and you don't feel like you're getting it, it's a good idea to just say, when you're around, let me know, whatever it is you're doing, because just like we're good at things, they're also good at other specific things. So if you're not getting a sign, just make it more general. It's like, hey, when you are around, let me know that it's you.
That's a good way to, because they're not, and we can't always make the assumption that they're always able to transfer into or interface with us in our dimension.
Yes.
Does it take a lot for them to do that?
It can, like sometimes like somebody might be very good at leaving coins.
Yes.
Whereas for another soul, that might be something that's a lot more difficult.
Yes.
Yeah.
Interesting. I love that. So, when they go, do they ever tell you what happens on the other side? Do they ever say what they're seeing when they're there?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, this is exciting. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Okay. So, what are some of the things that you've heard on the other side that they kind of do when they're over there, or what do they see?
So here's one of the things that I just find kind of fascinating. Like, I learned this from a client I was reading for, and her father came in. Yeah. And he was talking about working with animals, because animals also cross over. And so he was
get into that. Okay, yes.
He was saying that like there are certain animals, and anybody who's had pets know that they're like, even if you had a bunch of pets, there's usually like one or two that were just such a strong connection.
Yes.
It's like that pet understood my emotions, that pet understood the language I spoke. And so what I was hearing from this person who crossed over is that he was working with those animals that come in to be like our
guardians, right?
Yes.
Guardians.
Yes.
I feel that. I feel that with my dogs.
Yes.
My dogs did it. One didn't do it that it doesn't matter how they transition, because one dog that was kind of awake, that she was going through everything, and she was actually put to sleep, but she was still cognitive.
Okay.
And she kind of came in just stronger than the one that was very, very close to me. I could just see, he didn't come in as strong initially. I felt him come later.
No, it doesn't. No, the transition doesn't matter.
Okay.
It's just sometimes what can happen, like you were saying, the one that you're very, very close to.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, sometimes when there's a loss that's very big for us, our grief lowers the vibration, makes it harder to sense that.
Understand.
So you may have had to work through the grief a little bit further
Except for
to
Murphy
feel.
Lay. Yeah, Murphy Lay was hard.
Yeah.
Sheena was a little easier, but she came through quicker
Yeah.
than Murphy Lay. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. I didn't realize we were talking about the animals transition. A lot of times we talk about that and we never really had an understanding, because they have a different soul essence.
Yes. Yeah.
And their contracts are different. Do they have soul contracts like we do?
Yes. And like they would agree to come with us, and animals can come in more than once. You know, they like us, they can come in. Yes, so they have different soul contracts. It's like they're different beings, they're different than us.
Yes. Can a dog come into the soul of a cat, or a cat into a horse into
Yes.
Okay, they can.
I have a cat right now that I know was a dog.
Oh my
I know
gosh, that is so cool.
everything about her
Yeah.
is much more dog behavior than cat behavior. She plays fetch.
No way,
Yes,
I
she
love
does.
this.
I have a video of her playing fetch.
I love
and
this.
bringing it back, and just
She
everything.
has
She
that-
curls up. I lay down to go to bed, and she comes up, walks on me, and curls down and sleeps right next to me.
This is beautiful.
Yes.
This is good for a lot of, because we have a lot of really animal lovers here, and I think a lot of times with me, I've had dogs my whole life, but I've always felt them, like if it was not right away, it was later on, or when I was really sick.
Yeah.
When I'm very sick, I can
Yes.
smell them,
Yes.
which is interesting.
Yep. And they oftentimes, like, especially like if it's a cat or a dog, and they've crossed, like, one of the big ways that we'll feel them around is like we feel like they've just gotten in bed with us, or they've just laid down with us, and of course then we're like, oh, you know, nothing's there, and we just dismiss it.
Yes.
Because it's very, very subtle energy. But horses, goats, you know, they'll,
That's
like,
amazing
yes.
that they can go into different. Can people transcend into it, because it's a different kind of energy? Can we because you know, I don't know if it was in ancient times they talked about if someone's punishment would be
Yes.
coming back into an animal form. Is that anything that you've ever heard of?
I've heard of it. I don't personally connect strongly with that.
Okay.
But I suppose it's possible. I suppose anything's possible.
Exactly.
But to me, when I connect, human souls and animal souls feel very different.
Very different. I
Yes.
figured that.
Yep.
Now, have you ever seen orbs during the time when you're doing readings, or
Yes.
before?
Yeah, I've
Okay.
actually, because I do a lot of video readings, so like Skype or Zoom,
that's cool.
and so we record, and I'll see the orbs, and then of course I'll tell them like, look at this time, and yep. But I can't usually see them with my naked eye, but over the video I can catch
It's
them.
interesting.
Yeah, the
Sometimes
technology.
you see them sometimes smaller or bigger. So what do the orbs represent in your? What can they
souls,
They are.
spirit guides, loved ones, angel energy. Yes.
be? So what's the difference in like a guide? How does a guide show up in our lives? Because,
Okay.
You're gonna, because I always wanted to ask this question.
So here's how I look at spirit guides.
Okay.
Before we come into a life, we make an arrangement with a particular soul to be our main spirit guide that comes with us start to finish, conception to death. That's like our main
That's our main
person.
okay.
Yes, and then other spirit guides, based on what we're dealing with in our life, kind of come in and out. Like they specialize. So relationship, school, death, you know, illness. We have specific ones that come in.
Okay.
Spirit guides are the same type of soul as humans. It's the same. They've just stayed over there to help us.
Okay.
So
Do they have a higher level of like
not
how
necessarily.
they work? Okay.
No,
Interesting.
no. So like we could cross over and find out that we've been a spirit guide before for somebody else.
Interesting.
Typically, our main spirit guide would be a soul that we would know, so we would have had probably lives with or something like that.
Register, yeah.
Yeah, and so a lot of times how spirit guide energy shows up is like our intuition. Like, you know, you're just sitting at a red light and you're like, I'm supposed to turn right, but I really just feel
Something just comes about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that like, oh, I knew that was going to be the wrong decision, but I made it, and now I'm.
Yeah.
That would be a spirit guide trying to like, hey, maybe. Yes.
They silently kind of influence you, just
Yes.
a slight, like whisper, almost like a whisper
Yes.
in you.
Yeah, but they can't force us, so we still have our free will here. So,
That's interesting. So guides don't have to be something elevated necessarily in
No.
life. They just can just be assigned to that by choice.
Yes.
By contract, they choose that contract to.
Yeah, and
assist.
now, like, certain ones would have, like, specialties. Like, if you have one, like, when you're having kids and you're having pregnancies, well, that's probably a soul who knows a lot about raising kids
Absolutely.
and this sort of thing. They,
Can we ask for the one to come online that we require? So let's say I'm going through something emotionally and I require some sort of like help in how to heal that emotion or
Yes.
how to resolve it. Can I say, well, the guide that is for my emotional well-being, can you assist me?
Yes. So the thing with the other side is that sometimes we have to be very, very specific with them. So,
Yes.
so if we're dealing with something and we're just so frustrated, invite your guides in. Invite them in and say, if you were able to, because sometimes we just have to learn,
Yeah.
like, well, whatever lessons it is.
Absolutely.
But it's like, hey, if you can assist in this situation, I invite you in to do so.
Beautiful.
Because sometimes they just sit on the sidelines and watch
I notice that they kind of permeate in the back. You'll
Yeah.
see them lying in the back.
Yeah.
Like even if I was discussing before I came to Florida, when me and my husband were going through our little thing, the one of the guides that showed up, I was talking to another like ET UFO person on the thing, and there was a spiritualist on there, and she said that there was a Native American guide, like one who with his feathers up, that was going to come in now because I was going to go and gain strength.
Yes.
And I was like, what does that mean? Strength
Yeah.
and fortitude. I was like, I don't want that.
I don't want whatever lesson is going to give me those.
Because
Yeah.
you think to yourself, at the time, it was so relative to what I was going to go
Yeah.
through for 7 years. I had
Yeah.
no clue to the cultivation and the guidance I would require to gain that amount of strength and fortitude as a mother, as a woman.
Yeah.
I didn't know how relative it was. I just didn't want to. To be honest, I didn't really.
Yeah.
I was okay just being complicit and complacent
Yes.
at that point. I was like,
Yeah.
listen, I'm already a mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want any more challenges. You know what I mean?
I know, but unfortunately, that's kind of
I'm
what
better
life,
for it. We're
that's
sitting
kind of
here.
what life's about. Is
We're sitting here, and I mean, I gained a lot of wisdom for that. And
Yeah.
why I was able to even start the platform was because of that gain of strength. and
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Gaining that
I mean, that's how we learn, and that's how we grow is through challenges and struggles. Unfortunately, it's why we come here.
It's true.
This is where the struggles happen.
Now,
Yeah.
intergalactically, because that's my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Now, because you're O negative, this is like the tea that you get with the O negatives. It's like I
Yeah.
like having this conversation with you because you have a direct lineage in my world to the celestial realms, to the galactic realms. Do you ever see or feel something that is not quite from here, so to speak?
Yes.
Wait,
Yes.
let me get excited. I'm getting close to
Excited.
Okay. So, what does it feel like? Now, can you tell the difference if their home planet is here or if it's like Mars or if it's somewhere else? You may not even know.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me is I don't know like the names and all the different planets and stuff, but yes, I can. So I have what I mostly am, how I mostly receive my information is called claircognizance.
Okay.
It just means clear knowing.
Okay.
So I just can kind of tell. Like I can just kind of tell.
Yeah,
Yes.
you just know that they're not
Yeah.
from here. In the way that they convey the message, is it a little different?
No.
Is it similar?
No,
you
it's
can
very,
process it.
it's very similar. And I can even I've sat with people and done readings who are here now
Yes.
that I can tell don't usually come here.
They're not.
And
yeah.
don't necessarily
This is like a
like it
vacation
here
gone
as
wrong.
much.
It's like, I just wanted to come here for a
yes.
minute, but I don't think I'm coming
Yeah.
back to this planet.
Yeah, exactly.
Mother
Yes.
Terra is not going to hold me hostage.
Yes.
So-
No, the communication is very, very similar.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's because you're so receptive and also you have an awareness that supersedes like some people's limitation. I think maybe because I've heard people kind of not even accept that, so maybe they don't actually, maybe they'll get it, but they don't accept that
Right.
exists.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I really feel like we're getting to the point where it's like people who really don't accept it, it's like,
Like what
Yeah.
planet are you really from?
Yeah.
Are you really real?
Yeah.
Now, I have a question.
Yes.
This is an interesting one.
yeah.
I also talk about cloning and people who are lacking in souls.
Yes.
essence. Do you ever feel empty seaters, what I consider to be beings
Yes.
that are holographic
I
beings?
won't read for, but I wouldn't read for,
You felt that before.
yeah, yes, but it's like, it's just like close the door on it. I'm very well protected,
Good.
so like I only, allow access from souls that are from love and light.
Yes.
And so, like,
Beautiful,
that kind of
beautiful.
darkness is like, I'm like, no, and I'll just move forward, move on.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And before we talked, I talked about what I felt about channelers, because they get on me. They're very upset that I have an issue with channelers, and I say I would prefer those people not be, because I feel like an open portal can be a little problematic.
Oh, yeah.
So
you're talking about direct channeling.
Yeah,
like
direct channeling.
where the soul takes over the body.
Yes.
Yeah, I do not do that.
And we discussed that. So what's your take on that? Because that's why we're sitting here today. I love that you were able to explain to me how you are able to interface with other beings, other dimensional beings, transcended beings, as opposed to bringing beings directly in you.
Like, I'm here and they are there.
Yes.
And we just have a communication. As far as like a direct channel, it's not for me. Like, I can't really speak about anybody else who does it,
Yes.
if it's legitimate, if it's not legitimate.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't have firsthand experience. I don't want firsthand experience. I want to keep control of my body. You stay there.
That's right.
We'll talk.
Stay in your corner.
Yes.
We're good.
Yes.
You can talk to me, but don't come
don't
in me.
come into my,
Because a lot of times when they come in the body, there's a lot of exhaustion. When I was in Brazil, there was a woman who read for Paola. Big up to Paola, who's in Brazil now.
Oh, yes.
But she went to go get her nails done.
Are we talking about the same Paola? Probably not.
Wait, do you know Paola too?
I do.
Wait, is she here in the States?
The documentary lady?
No.
Okay,
no.
then
Oh my God.
different Paola.
That might be relative though. Okay. So Paola's in Brazil now, and she went to go, like, we were supposed to go out, she went to go to the hairdresser, and in Brazil, especially when in Brazil, a lot of the women do, like, some of them pull in energy.
Yeah.
So the lady said, I need cigars, I need liquor, because that's the feeding, right?
Yep.
That's the feeding the entity, and this being pulled in another thing, and it was smoking cigars and drinking, and it required that to be there as long as it was in that body. And then when it left the body, she slept for 3 days.
Yeah, and probably couldn't remember what had happened. No, that's too much.
Okay.
Too much for me.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah, that was interesting.
My Scorpio energy too controlling.
That's true. That's true. And I felt like, how do we trust that a type of being that will require something so physical? Because when that's saved to the level of vibration that they're at, that they still require physical, like, donations to Eureka's and things like that, they require a physical gift or liquor, things that are earthbound addictions.
It's just, again, it's not something I ever even wanted to explore. I don't even think that I would, for me, I don't think I would even let myself do it, like even travel down that road. It's just, I like to keep my faculties.
But that's how I always felt, because even coming from the islands, we see a lot of times with Jongaje, voodoo, all these different occultists. What I notice when I'm viewing them is that I'm seeing a level of their auric field being compromised.
Yeah.
And as a little girl viewing them, it was
scary,
disheartening.
it can be intimidating, it can be frightening. I really think it can be frightening.
I think so.
For me, the level of what I do, the messages come through. I don't need them to take over.
You're innately more so a natural medium.
Yes.
As opposed to someone who is pulling in the frequencies by channeling a being within.
Right.
So they're getting the intel from inside via someone else or something else.
Yes.
Interesting. So let me ask you a question. So when it comes to little people on the other side, do they remain little people, or do they go into other forms? I always wondered that.
Are you talking about like little people,
like little girl, like children?
I always call children. Okay,
children.
I know. Are we talking about
that's
children
not politically
or
correct.
People?
Yeah, little children.
No, they don't typically stay children on the other side. We can kind of have whatever form we would like, because once we get over there, we're a compilation of all the lives we've lived. So it's not that we're necessarily like this.
We can choose whatever incarnated life that we have.
Yep.
Do you ever meet people that you recognize that you've known them for some lives?
Yeah, but I don't know how. It's like, when you just click with people, or when you just meet somebody and you're like, I don't like that person. It's the same. It's that same.
True.
Yeah.
Usually with me, it's like if I don't like someone, then later on they do something that actually validates why you didn't like them.
Absolutely, and that's kind of like, you could say, like your spirit guide, like, hey, like
this person is going to be a little insidious.
Somebody, I caught a question about connecting with spirit guides, And sometimes a really great way to connect with a spirit guide is like when you go to bed at night, just ask for a name. Just ask for your spirit guides to give you a name, and you'd be surprised. Sometimes a name will pop right into your head, or sometimes you'll wake up in the middle of the night with a name in your head.
Yes.
I like a first name because I find for whatever reason, for me, it helps the connection.
I agree. I agree.
So your spirit guides will help you even if you don't know their name, but if you can get a first name,
Then it helps.
yeah, for sure.
Now, when we go along with spirit guides and empathics, you only interface with the light, but are there other beings that are a little darker that try to interface with you? Do they attempt to?
No.
They don't?
No.
They know it's a closed door.
Yes.
They don't even attempt to
No.
do it. I love that.
Yeah.
That's another concern. Remember, that was another concern
Yes.
I had, is like beings that are dark or malicious.
Yeah. No, I've never had a concern over them. I have just always had that door closed. Like
They know that.
you
and they
can
know.
set boundaries in this with the spirit world.
Yes.
You know, like even like I had some spirit guides that would, like I would see them in the middle of the night. I would wake up and before my third eye and my eyes
could actually
yes, I
register
could
it.
see them, and it would scare the crap out of me. And so like I kept waking up and there was this old woman standing at the head of my bed, which was fine except for when you first wake up and you see an adult
what's
figure
happening.
that you
don't
don't
wanna see
know,
it.
you're like,
Individual.
you're about to get murdered.
Yeah.
And so finally, one of my other psychic friends was like, just ask them, just say, I appreciate that you're showing up, but the way you're doing it is scaring me. Could you find another way to do it?
Very nice.
And once I did that, they did.
That's beautiful.
So you can set parameters and set details. I mean, I sage once in a while, but for the most part, I surround myself with the white light of the Holy Spirit
Yes.
every day. I set the intention that only beings from love and light can connect to me, and I don't worry about it.
I love that, and
Yeah.
I know that works
Mhm.
because I even when there's times when I want to be a little naughty, even
Yeah.
times when I want, it's almost like there isn't my bound, because I'm now extending my boundary a little further as far as safety with myself.
Yeah.
It'll show up and it will disallow even the connection with someone
Yes.
who isn't in the frequency.
Yeah.
So now I'm not even allowed to be insidious because I can't even hang out with insidious
Yes.
people. The same,
Yeah.
like when I was younger, I was allowed to maybe interface with people that were a little more questionable.
Right.
Now I feel like my
Well, you would just you would pick up on it so much
I would.
faster.
Yes. But now
Yep.
it's just like, even if because I talk to so many people, even if someone is in that I don't want to say, because I don't want to say lower or higher, just everyone's at the vibration that they should be.
Yep.
But when I meet someone or see someone online that might try to interconnect with me that isn't matching
Yeah.
or higher than my frequency, I
Yeah.
find that the universe won't even allow, or my perimeters, my spiritual perimeters,
Yes.
disallows that connection from going any further than just maybe a hey
Yes,
and a
exactly.
nay.
Yep. And we do vibrate lower and higher. So it's not like we all do it. We all have times of a lower vibration.
Yeah.
Some people live in a lower
They do.
vibration
They do.
more than others.
Yeah.
So it's not good, bad, or indifferent. It just it is. We need the balance here. We need the negative energies. We need
To
the
recognize the light,
negative.
right?
Yes. It's why we're here. This is where we experience the most extremes, so to speak.
Well, I've seen that.
Yes.
So as far as like even with dreams, let's go into dreams.
Yeah.
A lot of people will dream. Now, how valid is, like, let's say when someone has a dream, what goes on a dream with as far as spiritual guides and so on? Sometimes we have dreams that we think are guides. How do we kind of differentiate?
Here's how you tell a dream from what I would call a visit. Okay. A dream, when you wake up from even a really vivid dream, usually like later that day, some of the details are shady, sketchy, like what was that? Like I don't quite remember.
Yeah.
A visit will be just as clear 20 years later as it was the day you had it.
Yes, the
That is
details.
how you tell the difference.
Okay, do you hear that, everyone? The
Yeah.
visit is much more crisp, you could solidify it, and it's more memorable, as if you're living in your daily life.
Yes.
A dream is kind of, it fades with the wind. Fades with the wind.
Yep.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, but a visit, I mean, years and years later, it's going to be every detail you'll remember just
I realize
as much.
that. Yeah, absolutely. Now they're asking about sleep paralysis. I know that's when we come in and out of our bodies. That sometimes that happens.
Yes, so it's when you've been astral traveling and the body starts to wake up before the soul is fully back in. Super annoying. I do not love that. Because like usually you can see and hear, but you can't like speak or move, and it's really intimidating.
That's when sometimes you see the other beings, and if
Yeah.
you aren't conscious enough you may be frightened.
Yes,
because,
and that's also when people will say, no, there was something on me and it was holding me down, and it was really your own soul, like, coming back in.
Because we have a cord, right? We have a cord.
Yeah.
Leads us back to our body.
Yes. We can't lose it. But the thing is that from the other side, the biggest thing is that they just want us to know that they're around, that we're not like down here floundering around on our own.
Yes.
But sometimes the way that stuff happens scares the shit out of us.
Yes.
Because
yes.
we're still human. And so it's like when we wake up and there's a cowboy standing in your doorway, it's like,
brown cowboy,
I'm about to
you
die.
should have came 20 years
Yes.
ago. Too early.
So yeah, they don't typically mean to scare us, but it can. Some of the stuff that happens, it's still, sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and I like creep my eye open and I'm
just
like,
to make
please,
sure, right?
Yes.
Just I don't want to wake up.
Yes.
And also, I see sometimes, because we're in a very different time where the energies are kind of merging.
Yeah.
The veil is very, very thin or even
Yes.
non-existent. I find that the different realms are kind of blending.
Yeah.
Like, do we see that, like, past, present, and future, there are beings showing up that may not be from this particular time, that we kind of see from another time, like in another timeline.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because like really our time here on Earth is start to finish, birth to death.
Yes.
And this is like really the most linear time experience.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what like the other side and stuff. It's not, their timeline's not like ours.
Exactly. And it's not as concrete as ours
Correct.
shows up.
Yes.
Okay. So what do they say about the future, like as far as how things will show up in, because the Earth is seeming quite chaotic.
Yes.
And a pole shift could be impending. What do they say about what's going on with our physical Earth right now? How do they see that? If they share that?
Yeah, no, it's like it's definitely a process. The chaos that we're experiencing right now is actually a good thing. I know it doesn't seem like it, but
It does.
is
I agree.
actually a good thing, because it's going to lead us into more awakening, more knowledge, thinner veil. But it takes so much time down here. Like something that would take the equivalent of like 2 years somewhere else, it takes like 50 years.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
So it's very dense. The energy is very dense here.
Yeah.
But it's like we're not anywhere near close to not needing to still come here. Is what.
Okay.
So once we're all so evolved, like we won't need to come to Earth.
We don't have to do that. But do we go to we go to the different layers,
Yes.
like 5, because they'll say 5D, I don't know if that's quite the right term, 5D, 8D,
Yes.
11D.
Yes.
We go to different, different densities, right? Densities.
Yeah.
Where we match.
Realms, levels, whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. Yes. But for quite a while, we're still going to need Earth.
I see that, but she's
Yeah.
beautiful. It's just
Yes.
the people I
Oh,
question.
yes.
I love Earth.
Yes.
I'm all for Earth. I think she's a magical, amazing being.
I guess Earth the way it is now, like more with the people and the heaviness of it and the density of it.
Absolutely. Now, I have connection to the trees. Do you ever feel like the trees or the plants have interface with you sometimes, like when you sit there?
They've got like the souls and energy and absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, I love nature. I love to
Absolutely.
sit outside and be with just any kind of
It's
nature.
beautiful because they kind of interface with us energetically as well and communicate if we're receptive to it.
Yes.
I love this.
We couldn't be here without them.
No, I think we don't give them as much credit or credence
Yeah.
for making our lives so amazing. They were asking about the fairy realms. Do you have acknowledgement of the fairy realms or the little realms, the elemental realms?
Acknowledgement in that they exist, yes.
Yes.
I don't necessarily feel them or connect to them.
Some of our people on here that they have the connection to.
Yes, absolutely. I wish I did, but I don't know if I'm just missing that it's them,
Absolutely. They have a very playful, very playful energy.
Yes.
And so on. And it's interesting, I was obsessed with Edgar Casey for a long time because in my past life I had a connection with him. Even to the point when I went to the Edgar Casey Institute. If you never went to the...
I never have.
Oh my gosh. You've got to go. Virginia Beach.
Yes.
At the Edgar Casey Institute. So my mom just acknowledged that's what she didn't understand what that was. But it wasn't until I went to like a retreat. We went to like a retreat and I actually went and saw the steps on the building that I knew I was actually there physically.
Yes.
It was my perception. I always knew
Yes.
I had something. And I'm a little brown island girl. How would I have an interface with this sleeping prophet all the way in Virginia Beach, but also
Yeah.
my parents had a family home. I almost feel like sometimes our lives we choose,
Yeah.
kind of, we will choose lives that almost touch other parts of our lives previously.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Especially if there's something more we needed to learn from a certain situation. It's very common that people come into the same lineage.
Yes.
You know, from one life they were maybe the great great grandmother and
Yes,
mother.
yes, give
You know,
birth to
the
the
new
ancestors.
yeah.
I love that.
The new
I
baby
love
boy
that.
in
I
the
love
family.
that. Oh my God.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That kind of stuff happens. You hear about that all the time where, you know, people go to some country, some city they've never been to, and they get off the plane and they're like, wait a second.
Oh my God.
And they like know details of the, you know,
The
that's,
ley lines
that's
and
past
everything.
life stuff. I always think like kids who, you know, like are playing concert level, you know, violin at
Oh my
7.
gosh.
It's like they just played that they were
I
just
remember.
yes, they're just remembering cell memory. So I always think of cell memory. Like if you work out a lot in
Yes.
this life and then you stop for a bit and you start again, your
Oh,
cells
it's so much. Oh, they
retain
remember.
memories.
Yeah.
The same thing when your soul comes back into a body, we bring information from the last time we were in a body. It's like, oh wait, last time I spoke Spanish and now I suddenly understand Spanish,
It's
even
an
though I'm
interesting,
not
yeah,
exposed to
yeah,
it.
yeah. It's almost like you understand the tongue, or you hear the tongue in your dreams. A lot of times I'll hear
Yeah.
tongues in my dream.
Yes.
That's
I always say
interesting.
my internal voice has a British accent.
Oh, I love it. Yes,
It
yes,
always
yes.
has. I'm like, okay, I don't know.
Because it comes from
Yes.
you in a past life where you had
Yeah.
that zest, that overlaid on top of you. Now, coming with, because I've lost babies before, so
Okay.
I always wondered, and that was probably,
Like from in utero,
yeah,
correct?
yeah. So
Okay.
I always wondered how that kind of translated, because I felt like I felt them before,
Oh, yeah.
like they're present.
Yeah, it's still, as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah.
as soon as you're pregnant, there's a soul there.
I agree.
Okay,
I
so
agree.
sometimes the soul decides, well, I'm not ready, and they go.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's an experience that needs to be learned from having an abortion or a miscarriage,
Yeah.
so we arrange
That's what I'm saying. Wow.
we arrange this setting, you know, like,
Yeah.
so.
That's interesting, because
yeah.
I always wondered, because even after I've lost the babies, I would
But-
dream about them as
But
if
see,
they were
those
real.
are souls that when it's your time to go over, you're going to recognize those souls because
Oh, I
you met
love
them
it.
before you came here.
Yes.
And arranged that before you came here. So those souls remain attached even though they weren't into a life.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you for that, because I needed to know that, because I felt it and I was like, I feel them,
Yeah.
but I just don't know, because I always felt like they would translate again
Were there
into my
three?
womb. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
I was just picking up.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah, and
Okay.
I felt, and I have dreams of them.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, even being spiritually healthy or understanding
Yep.
that the grief
It's
that
still,
sometimes.
yeah, because you still lost part of you,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But it was part of the
process.
big picture.
They,
yeah.
they actually, it's like a ghetto term, grew me up. They
Yeah.
literally did, because I changed after
So,
that.
but see, that's like a case where those souls probably act as a guides for you in some fashion. Do you know what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
that's the other thing. Like spirit guide energy can be our loved ones that we did know here, and they cross over. Any soul that helps us on the other side, I would consider to be guiding us.
Yes, yes.
Um,
I love that.
so the main one that we came in with is obviously not somebody we knew here because they had to be over there for us to
That
get
one.
here. But,
Yeah.
So.
So, as far as like, okay, so we go a little further into registering, you reading people and interface, and having, you actually help a lot of people deal with transitioned loved ones.
I do work a lot with people who have lost loved ones, yes.
And how do you feel like when you begin your session? Because we're going to get into your information, and I want everyone, especially we have some wonderful people who would love to. That's why I did this, because before the conference was weird. There was more passings right before my conference than I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And I said to Evo, I said, it touched me, and I said, this meant something. This wasn't supposed to just be, it touched my world for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. It's part of the, I guess, the next step.
Yes.
Whatever you want to call it.
Also,
Yeah.
so we have people who transition. So what do you feel like when they come in and they ask for that level of resolve spiritually, and then how do you feel they walk away?
That's tough.
Okay.
Hopefully,
different, yeah.
hopefully they walk away with some comfort would be my hope for them.
Yes.
So like when I sit down, I just sit down with the intention of like, please let me bring to this soul whatever it is they need.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's peace, closure, comfort, whatever, just let me bring that to them. And then I just do whatever I do, and I hope that they walk away getting what they need.
I wanted to meet you. I was like, I'm meeting her regardless. I was like, I'm flying to New York. I was like, we're going to meet. And, I felt a connection. Again, it was from Evo, but I felt like it was something else. Like, I felt like there were people who passed, and there was an unresolvement. Again, there was a conference. It's kind of like everything was in the mix.
Hectic.
It was hectic.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to, because, when someone says to me, oh, I'm supposed to go to your conference, but my son just killed himself.
Yes.
Like, I didn't even know as a mother how that would impede on my heart.
It is incredible the resilience that people have.
Yeah.
It really is. And doing what I've done for as long as I've done it, it just amazes me.
Yeah.
I mean, people really can handle so much.
They can,
Yep.
even if we think we can't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because Evo, I think he's my hero at this point. Like the way that he handled
He's incredible.
Passing and the spiritual astuteness, like the way he was able to discern what was going on, and his son's love transcending to contact his father and mother.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
And the pain we feel here, like people don't give as much. Like, it's hard being on Earth.
Oh, it's really hard.
It's one of the toughest planets to live on.
Yeah.
With all these beings, all these agendas, things that we have to undergo, the spiritual lessons. It's very tough for especially very special children. Children that are very sensitive. I have a Pisces at home.
Oh, yes.
She's very, very sensitive. She doesn't feel like she's part of this world. And I have to say sometimes, baby, I know it's hard, but this will make you stronger. But it's very tough for us as being parents to very sensitive children.
It is. It is. And that all you can do is support them because they've got their own journey to have here.
Yes.
They've got to find their own way. So you just be open and talk with them. And, the thing is that as humans, a lot of us feel isolated and we feel weird and we feel like alone, but everybody's weird. Everybody's kind of like,
Everyone has a weird moment. I mean, we're all weirdos to being on this planet.
But we just tend to feel so much more isolated. Like other people don't understand us when, if we were more open, there's a lot more understanding.
I agree.
Than we think.
And someone asked about premonitions. Do you have like precog moments of like things happening? Do you get those?
I have had a few in my life, which oddly enough have been about me, which I can't usually read for myself.
Yes.
But I had the biggest one I ever had was I woke up and this voice said to me, "You just had a baby boy at Halifax Hospital."
What?
And I was like, that was weird.
That's wild.
Because I was...
Oh, I'm getting chills.
Well, my husband had had a vasectomy like 11 years earlier.
Wait, this is like one of those things like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so that day my daughter, she was 5, and she got sent home from school with head lice in kindergarten.
Yeah.
And so I was out picking nits out of her hair, and I looked down and my feet were swollen, and I said, holy shit, I'm pregnant. Okay? So I took like 5 pregnancy tests. I called the pregnancy company,
this
the
is
pregnancy
crazy.
test
You were
company,
like, this
and they're
is a
like,
lie.
there's not a false positive. You can get a false negative, but not a false
I've
positive.
only been with my husband. Don't play games with me.
So I go to the doctor, and he's like, you're like 3 months pregnant. And I was like, oh my God. So my husband goes, and of course he had gotten me pregnant. It had regrown.
Oh my
But the whole time I was pregnant, my mother was working at another hospital, and that's where I was going to deliver. But the night my water broke, that hospital was full, and I had a baby boy at Halifax Hospital. And I said, to me, I was like, they had to just be over there like, okay, we're going to have to just tell her that she's pregnant because she's not getting all the other... I had even jokingly said like 2 weeks earlier to my neighbor, oh, wouldn't that be funny if I were pregnant? Because I was having morning sickness.
This is crazy.
Never even occurred to me that I was pregnant.
And you were pregnant.
This is almost out of the first trimester. I was like 13 weeks pregnant.
I actually like that you got past that, because that's like the time when we feel like everything. So kind of like you got past. At least hopefully you felt good for the rest of the pregnancy.
I did. Yeah.
Oh my God.
He's my baby, but he's 14 now.
14.
So, yeah.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
it's like.
So yeah, that was one of my biggest premonitions, but that was for me, which usually, like I said, I can't read for myself.
Yeah.
I don't usually read for like friends, family. I know too much about them to, I don't know. It's like.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I love that, because to me it's like we get these, and a lot of times I think we always, especially readers, a lot of times they think it's for other people. Sometimes they may project it on other people, and it's really has to do with themselves sometimes, and they're unable to register that it's about them. It has nothing to do with anyone else but them getting that info. Oh, my ear is ringing.
Oh, that's getting a little download. Getting a little
getting some alien interface in here. Your energy. What I will say is that your energy. I can feel it ebb and flow. It's a beautiful energy. She has a beautiful energy. I always say this because they never get a chance to see me with someone in person, but it's a beautiful energy. There isn't any like normally with certain people, especially if they're psychic, I can feel almost like a
defensiveness.
Yes, and a heaviness a little bit.
Yeah. No,
you're light. Yeah,
I'm
very light.
Very easygoing, very low key.
Absolutely. And there wasn't any resistance with me coming here, even though it's around the corner. But it wasn't any resistance. Like I didn't get a phone call right before I came. Those are usually my cues that something is, or something happening, like something breaking. Yeah. That's usually when I know that the interface that I'm having is going to be, no, that's okay.
Sorry, everybody.
The interface that I was having was going to be something that I should be concerned about,
Gotcha.
or may not be in a way that's aligned with me.
Yeah.
I always get that, which is interesting. You're telling my ears ringing or downloads. You're telling, okay, she said, oh, okay, let me see your questions. I'm not going to keep her too much, y'all. I mean, I'm giving y'all a treat because I was like, I'm definitely going to come and speak to RC Star here, and I think it's amazing what you do, but I want you to give them everything that you do, where they can contact you. I'm going to actually put it in the description also. Don't overwhelm her for the holidays, y'all. Let me just say this.
You know what? I have a website.
Oh, good,
it's Psychic Medium Jennifer, JENNIFER, Doran, DORAN.com. My schedule's there. Just make sure you select your right time zone. You can see my availability. You book and you can pay right through the website whenever you want it.
That's easy
to book. I do phone, Zoom, Skype, FaceTime.
Listen, y'all. So, especially for the family, there were a couple of people who were asking when you were coming on. I was like, listen, hold on. It'll be today. I was like, you get a chance and go to her website and also book with her, and also check out her website and check out and see what's going on. I think I'm so grateful you even decided to
I'm so
join.
excited.
She was
like,
it
out perfectly.
It was crazy.
Really
she was like, I was like, where do you live? She was like, in Florida. No, what did you say?
Orlando.
I was like, wait, you don't live in Orlando. I was like, I live in Orlando. I was like, where are you? She told me where she is. I was like, I'm right here.
Yeah. So cool. Definitely meant to be.
I'm grateful though, because not everybody, gets a chance to meet personally, and I think to me, it's a bigger deal when maybe because I'm kind of like from town, like a smaller town. I feel like when I meet someone, to me, it means so much more. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Than
Absolutely.
Speaking that way.
I agree. No, I was excited to find out you lived locally.
Oh, so. Right. Yeah. And I'm halfway decent. I can only. The spirit guides only make me behave now. No, I'm joking. My husband does. Being a mother has humbled my whole world. I think that is just allowed. Spiritually, it humbles.
Yes.
It can create more waves or allow you to see yourself a little differently. But I think it's spiritually, it's kind of leveled me up.
Yeah, well, and it also just kind of can put you in check sometimes of what's important and what's, like, you can just let go,
I agree.
Being a parent, it's like, I can't deal with that. Whereas maybe before that would upset you, like, okay, it's a mess in here, but I can't.
No, exactly. It's like you pick and choose your battles. It's like, okay, we're going to deal with this after we at least have a good day, because mommy needs to relax a little bit.
So, we're sitting outside. I have ADD every once in a while. Somebody walks by and I'm like whipping
we have
around.
I'm always looking for extraterrestrials, shapeshifters in the eyes. But this is Starbucks, and I'm behaving myself, y'all, because I'm on a fast. This is my 3rd day of fast. So I have my water, my crystal water, which I haven't done in a while. So
I love that bottle.
This is cool, Zora.
Yeah.
I'm gonna send you the thing. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
This is I like them, and then you can take this out and put another crystal in there.
I love it. Yeah, send me the link for that. That's so cool.
And then the Zora little thing, so you don't break it, because God knows if I keep this around the house with the little people.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't. And you have animals too.
I do. I'm a cat. I'm a cat person. I love dogs.
We talked about the Lyrian connection
But
too.
I love cats. I have a lot of cats.
Oh, negative. Remember I said we got some Lyrian. There's some Lyrian. She has a connection to the cat beings, and cats can see through dimensions.
Oh God, yes. Yeah.
Do you ever see that they see things?
We have 4 cats that live inside.
Oh.
And then we live kind of in the country, so we have some cats that we feed that are outside that are like feral. We put some food out. But anyways, one of my cats a few weeks ago was just tearing around and like being so crazy. And so my husband and I both took out our phones, and we were able to catch some energy. But I knew it was extra because of the way the cat was acting.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the cat was interfacing with
Yes.
something in the house.
Oh yes.
So do they come in, sometimes the spirits come in the house
Just
more often?
to play and
Yeah.
I seriously think that sometimes like my cats would have probably hurt themselves if they didn't like kind of pull back a little bit.
Yeah.
I have this weird little staircase. It's not real stairs, it's a decorative staircase, and my cat was running up it, and I was like, oh my god, I started to get nervous, so like the energy pulled back a bit.
Oh, I love this.
So
I love
Yeah.
this. So they interface. Dogs, I don't feel, my dogs would more so feel like more like energetic differences, like if someone's doing dangerous things or
yes,
that
dogs
more
are definitely sensitive to the energy, but yes, I sometimes do feel like cats can see
They can.
it better than dogs.
Definitely. They have a better, and they have a calmer spirit too. Cats are a little more, well, depends on the kitty. You know, some kitties can be wild spirited, some lions, little baby lions going on. But
for sure.
I found there's a different, and you know, it's interesting. I used to have allergies to cats when I was younger, but that left when I got a little older. So I felt like the energy changed a little bit.
Yes, we had dog allergies in my house, so.
See, interesting. And I think that says something about the type of who you should be interfacing with at that time.
Yes.
Maybe you need to be more cat-based as opposed to dog-based.
Absolutely. I'm more cat-like myself anyways.
You look like a cat a little bit too. You have more of a cat, you know, they were looking at your beautiful eyes.
Yes.
Like I said, the first thing I noticed was her eyes. I was like, wow, she's interdimensionally interfacing. I can see that because I'm a little, you know, I talk to so many people and you can see it now.
Yes.
Probably you definitely can see it because you can feel it on someone. They have this like a different energetic field that supersedes their aura. Like normally we have an aura, but some people's aura goes a little further away.
Yes. Oh yes, absolutely.
What kind of permeates into our field.
Yep.
Something like that. So do you guys have any other questions? I'm not going to hold her all day chatting up a story, even though it's beautiful out here.
Yes, it is gorgeous.
I wanted to stay like this. I'm going to New York, and it's not going to be like this. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be really cold.
It's going to be super
really, really cold.
And where are you from? I have to say.
Vermont.
Vermont. She's from Vermont, so she's used to the really, really cold.
Yes.
And that means something too, but I won't discuss that on there.
No.
Yeah. So let's see. Do you guys have any other questions? And also, just one more time. Can some of my admins put her information and plug? I'm going to put it in the description afterwards. Can you say your channel one more time so they get it?
Yeah, it's psychicmediumjenniferdoran.com, and you can also find me on Facebook and Instagram, Psychic Medium Jennifer Doran.
Yeah. So, what's your goal for the future? Are you going to do some? You know, you should do some seminars and stuff.
Oh yeah. I usually do like 1 or 2 live events a year. Sometimes I do like group reading or a webinar, stuff like that. So if you're wanting to keep up with me, Facebook really is the best way to do it because I don't always update stuff on my website that I do on Facebook.
Okay.
So
your Facebook. Everyone has a preference on social media.
Yeah. Well, for whatever reason, I find Facebook even over Instagram because sometimes with Instagram I have a hard time advertising stuff. So I just like.
I don't do well on any social media network. I don't. I'm on here. I'm like your auntie.
Whoever that Bella, that's how you spell my last name.
Okay, good. So they've got it on there. And so what I'll do is, where is it? Okay.
Yeah, Doran right there.
Okay.
And then just Jennifer the regular way, Jennifer.
And what I'll do is I'll put all her information. What I'll do is I'll put all your information.
Yeah, there we go.
There, perfect.
That's exactly it.
Perfect. There we go. Thank you, Vivian.
Yeah.
They rock.
This was so fun.
No,
thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. So, everyone have an amazing day. Thank our guests. Again, I hope this will be one of many. I hope to definitely collab with you in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
And do something amazing.
Yes.
And, you know, this actually humbles my spirit a little bit because, again, I hadn't ever talked to a medium, so to speak. You know, I speak to a lot of people, but, you know, my anti-channeling, you know, they get on me all the time, like, Florburn, how could you be? And the channelers, everyone channels, you know, they get on me. So
but like if you're connecting to the other, you know, to me it feels very similar to how we would connect to the other side. It feels like how I would do it. You know what I'm saying? Like it feels like there's a comparable connection. If that makes sense.
The way that they talk to me, it's weird with me. It's they'll come physically and physical people, or they'll interface with me like in not so much like with I get sigils on my hand, symbols.
Okay.
or technology will show up.
Well, I'm
with
being
like
told that you get telepathic information though.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
like you're saying these things. I'm like, no, they're
That's
telling
true,
me you
that's
get
true,
telepathic
that's true.
information
I
too.
get a lot of the things
Yeah.
that I know that I talk about come from me, like from that coming through me.
Yeah.
So I guess
Yeah, that's a similar. That's kind
Is
of.
that channeling?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
If you're getting stuff
Do I have to
telepathically,
receive? Do I have to
if ideas are just popping in your head, you're just knowing stuff.
Do I have
yes.
to? Do I have to make a public announcement that Florboon is full of ish and possibly she may be channeling herself?
Well, if you're telling me that you get stuff that pops in your head and
I
stuff
do.
that you just that is telepathic communication. That is
That's interesting.
channeled information.
That is true.
People who sit down and write a song or can just sit down and write a book, all this
Yes.
information comes to them. It's usually channeled through something. It's like
That is true.
Yeah.
Thank you for humbling me. See, sometimes I have to be, and this is why I invited Jennifer, because I'm open and receptive to learning and accepting things past my limitation of consciousness sometimes. And sometimes just speaking to another seer, someone who has that spirit that I feel comfortable with, allows me to be able to connect the dots of what I interface
yeah.
with
Well,
as well.
sometimes we just have like an idea of what we do and who we are, and it's kind of like that one person looked at me and said, "You're a medium. That's what you're doing." I'm like, "Oh yeah, duh."
That's
Until
true.
somebody
They
says, like,
give
"No,
you-
wait a
that's
second.
true.
Here's
Give you a word to actually
Yeah.
define what it
Yeah.
is you're doing. Which a lot of times we don't necessarily have the words for it. They just
Right.
we do it intrinsically and don't
yes,
even
don't even
know
think
what the
about
name.
it." Yes.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. It's exciting. Okay, y'all. So we're gonna thank you for joining again today. I see you guys came in early. I came in early today, and I won't be doing the show on Thursday because I'll be in New York. So if you have any questions, please contact Jennifer. Make appointments with her. She's wonderful. I can vet her out. Her energy feels amazing, and it's very light energy. So
Thank you.
if you want to actually have someone who's connected to the other realms and can give you some resolve with loved ones, I can say Jennifer is the one to go to.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you
Bye.
later. Peace. There they go. I can never shut this